A firm voice orders her to open her mouth. A spoon feeds her a piece of meat, and she accepts it obediently. A dark-haired man watches closely and asks if it suits her taste. She says it is perfect. They sit in an opulent room where he personally tends to her needs. When he notices the cold, he drapes a fur cloak over her shoulders. She thanks him softly. Before leaving, he places a golden bell in her hand and tells her to ring it if she needs anything. As he turns away, panic grips her. She clutches the bell and calls out for him to wait. She runs after him, but a chain tightens around her ankle, yanking her to the floor. She screams as she crashes down. He stops at the doorway without turning around. She begs to go with him. His answer is cold and final. She will never leave this place again. She slumps on the floor as he smiles behind the closing door and tells her she will be happy here forever. The door shuts, he whispers her name, Jaina, while her screams for freedom. He declares she cannot escape his love. A bad ending screen fills a laptop. The girl shrieks in disbelief and kicks her legs in frustration. She yells that this ending makes no sense, then angrily eats chips, insisting that being fed, protected, and doted on by a handsome man sounds ideal. She flops back onto her bed, wishing she could live that lazy life forever. Her phone buzzes. She jolts upright, hoping it's a job offer. She reads the email. It's a rejection, citing unprofessional conduct. Her expression goes blank. Then she bursts into hysterical laughter through tears, regretting how she yelled at the interviewers. Giving up, she heads out to buy dinner. Outside the convenience store, she notices a poster on the window. The ads are everywhere. It's the game, How to Fall in Love with the Obsessed Man. It's a romance simulation about Jaina Blake and a cold, feared archduke named Theo. He is shown surrounded by monsters until Jaina appears and melts his frozen heart. Flowers bloom as they fall in love and marry, but his love turns excessive. Theo clings to Jaina, binding her with chains. The game boasts over 50 bad endings caused by his obsession. The girl hugs herself, blushing at the thought of an obsessive male lead, then freezes. A truck speeds down the street. Nearby, a familiar stray cat meows. She recognizes it and lifts a bag of food to call it over. A horn blares. The cat jumps in fear. Without thinking, she runs into the road, shouting a warning as she shoves the cat aside. Headlights flood her vision. She smiles calmly. Crash! Blood splatters. Darkness takes over. A hand jerks upward. A feeling lamp comes into focus. A pink-haired girl jolts awake, gasping for air. She stares at her trembling hands, shocked to be alive. The room is old and wooden. She calls out for the cat. The door slams open. Clothes are thrown at her face. A maid scolds her sharply, calling her Miss Jaina and ordering her to get dressed instead of lazing around. She mentions the Count and Countess and snaps that they are leaving for the Duke's castle today before storming out. Left alone as a mouse scurries by, Jaina slowly stands. Confused, she approaches a mirror and whispers, "Jaina!" She freezes, then screams. A beautiful pink-haired girl stares back. Pink diamond eyes, flawless skin. There is no doubt. She is Jaina Blake from the game. Realization hits hard. This is an isekai. Shock turns to excitement. She throws her hands up, cheering at her new life of wealth and comfort. She imagines the handsome male lead pampering her endlessly. Then remembers the confinement ending. Her smile sharpens. She clenches her fists, eyes burning with determination to secure that future. Jaina stands before the mirror in the rustic room, touching her face as she tries to make sense of it all. The truth hits her. She is Jaina Blake. Overwhelmed, she clasps her hands, drops to her knees, and swears she will not waste the second chance. This time, she will live long and comfortably. Looking around, she realizes she is in Blake Mansion and that the story has begun. Today, she is supposed to leave for northern Saronia to marry Duke Theo. She rushes to the wardrobe and throws it open, only to find it nearly empty, with mice hanging from the rods. The sight triggers memories of Jaina's past, being an illegitimate child, bullied and despised, forced to live alone in a dusty attic under cold moonlight. Jaina snaps her suitcase shut and steadies herself. That miserable life is over. Wearing a simple floral dress, she resolves to live better from now on. She walks into a grand parlor where her family is gathered and announces her departure. Her mother mocks her worn clothes in anger, accusing her of trying to disgrace them. Jaina calmly replies these are all she owns and suggests they buy her something better. When her father raises his hand to strike her, she dares him to go ahead and reminds him what the Duke would think of a bruised bride. Fear stops him. A servant arrives with a gift from Count Altair. Inside the gold box is a luxurious fur cloak. Jaina recognizes it as the gift that was stolen from her in the original story. Before anyone else can act, she takes the cloak and puts it on, claiming what belongs to her. She thanks her parents sarcastically and leaves without looking back. The carriage carries her away from the mansion. Along the road, she observes a world where magic is common. Witches and scholars walk freely, monsters exist, and dragons roam the skies. She learns they are headed to the Devil's Nest, a dangerous land ruled by Duke Theo. Instead of fear, she feels excitement and imagines an easy life ahead. The carriage stops abruptly at a gloomy castle surrounded by crows. The driver announces their arrival and quickly leaves, abandoning her at the gates. Jaina grips her suitcase, unnerved by the castle's oppressive presence, but forces herself to move forward. Inside the castle, a man pauses his writing and looks out the window. From above, Duke Theo notices the lone figure standing before his gates and silently observes the arrival of his unexpected guest. Jaina walks along the dark path towards the castle, muttering curses under her breath. Suddenly, bats burst from the trees, making her flinch. The air is cold and unsettling, and her nerves start spiraling. She forces herself to calm down, reminding herself that the handsome male lead is waiting inside. No matter how creepy the place looks, this is still her route to a comfortable life. A strange sense of confirmation settles in. This is the point of no return. Jaina doesn't hesitate. If the risk is death or obsession, she already knows which ending she wants. The massive castle doors slowly open on their own. Jaina pauses, uneasy. This wasn't supposed to happen. Still, she steels herself and peeks inside, calling out politely. Her voice echoes through the dark hall. Cobwebs hang everywhere. She sneezes, looks around in disbelief, and mutters that even for an illegitimate child, this place is excessive. With a sigh, she accepts reality. This marriage was never about love. Theo was the unwanted son of the late empress, cast aside by the emperor. Jaina was the unwanted daughter of her family. The emperor wanted money, Count Blake wanted status, and neither side cared who they sacrificed. Theo and Jaina were traded like disposable pieces, a perfect pairing of outcasts. Jaina tightens her grip on her suitcase. This is still better than living as a nobody. Not seeing a single servant, she decides to find the Duke herself. She climbs the long staircase, panting by the time she reaches the top, where a massive door stands waiting. She steps forward, and then freezes. Before she can think, her body moves on its own. The doors fly open. She stumbles, trips over the threshold, and crashes face first onto the floor. Groaning, she rubs her head and looks up. A man stands before her. Tall, imposing, dressed in a blue coat, his presence alone fills the space. Jaina's breath catches. This is Theo, the real Theo. Up close, his sharp features and overwhelming aura hit her all at once. Her face heats up as her mind spirals. He looks down at her coolly and asks what she's doing there. Before she can stop herself, Jaina blurts out a complaint about how fast he opened the door. The moment the words leave her mouth, panic sets in. Why did she say that? Theo frowns and asks who she is. Jaina snaps back that he should introduce himself first, immediately regretting it. He studies her with one visible eye before placing his hand to his chest and formally introducing himself as Theoristus Lee Acrona, Grand Duke. Jaina quickly regains composure. She rises, curtsies smoothly, and introduces herself as Jaina Blake, then with a bright smile announces that she is his wife as of today and says she looks forward to their life together. Theo visibly stiffens. He asks what she means. Jaina calmly hands him a letter explaining that the imperial family arranged everything. He takes it, reads the seal under the moonlight, and confirms its authenticity. With no room to deny it, he nods and says he understands the situation. Jaina beams, already celebrating internally. Then Theo steps closer and quietly suggests they annul the marriage. Jaina's smile shatters. She stares at him, completely stunned, as her plans collapse in an instant. Jaina freezes and asks why he wants to annul the marriage. Theo leans against the desk, the document still in his hand, and asks if she's truly fine with such a sudden arrangement. He steps closer, serious, and offers to help her escape quietly if she wants. Jaina lowers her gaze, hesitates, and admits she has nowhere else to go. Tears fill her eyes as she clasps her hands. Theo flinches at the change. She cries that her parents were eager to get rid of her and says she has no one left, begging him not to throw her out. Beneath the tears, she's determined not to lose her chance on a comfortable life. Theo looks conflicted and asks again if she's sure. He warns her about the rumors surrounding him, his supposed evil blood and merciless nature. Jaina dismisses them altogether. Smiling softly with a hand to her chest, she says she believes none of it and trusts that he is warm-hearted. Theo freezes, repeating the word warm-hearted. Jaina wonders at his reaction. He turns away, tells her to forget it, and says he'll show her to her room. Jaina clenches her fists in quiet triumph, convinced she has persuaded him. They walk through a dark, dusty corridor filled with cobwebs. Jaina sneezes, wondering why the castle is so dilapidated and empty of servants. Watching Theo's back, she notes his silence and assumes his affection towards her is low. She recalls how affection shifts with choices, and notices the heart gauge hovering at 30%, knowing higher affection unlocks dates. Assuming she started from nothing, she resolves to try harder. Distracted, she walks straight into Theo's back. He calmly says they have arrived. Jaina rubs her head and nods. They stop before a large double door. She turns to thank him, but he is already walking away. She calls after him, yet he does not stop. Left alone, she leans against the wall and reassures herself that things will improve. Theo slows, pauses, and slightly turns his head, recalling her smile on the way she spoke to him. Alone in the darkness, he mutters about being called warm-hearted and decides not to dwell on it, clenching his fist as he reminds himself he cannot trust her yet. Jaina opens her bedroom door and freezes. The room is in ruins, with broken furniture, pooled water, and debris everywhere. She clenches her fist, realizing there is no one to clean it for her. She shrugs off her coat and decides to do it herself. Opening the balcony door, she commits to cleaning if it means securing a life of comfort. She spends hours scrubbing, sweeping, wiping, and throwing trash outside. When she finishes, the room is spotless. She wipes sweat from her face and declares it finally suitable for a duchess. She opens the wardrobe to unpack and recoils in horror. Her scream echoes through the castle. Theo rushes in, forces the door open, and demands to know what happened. Jaina throws herself at him, clinging tightly and begging for help. Theo stiffens, flushed, and asks why she is dressed like that. She points shakily at the wardrobe and yells about a huge spider. Theo looks confused. Jaina realizes she cursed and covers her mouth in panic. He sighs and tells her to handle it herself. Power gathers in Theo's hand as he strikes the wardrobe. The spider instantly shrinks and scurries away. He adjusts his glasses and asks if she is all right. Jaina sinks to the floor in relief and thanks him, then freezes as realization sets in. This scene exists in the game. In the original story, she calmly handled the spider herself, raising Theo's affection. Realizing she panicked and swore instead, Jaina worries she ruined everything. As Theo looks at her in confusion, she collapses, convinced she completely messed up. Breath comes hard as Jaina's vision blurs. Pain tears through her stomach. In the darkness, a bloody hand reaches out as she gasps for help. A shadow looms over her. Theo, his face obscured, eyes glowing. He holds her broken body close, smiles, and whispers that she is safe now. He says they will be together until death and claims her as his. The vision shatters. Jaina is back on the floor, trembling. Theo kneels beside her and asks if she is all right, assuring her the spider is gone. Jaina stares ahead in horror. She's not afraid of the spider. She's shaken by the nightmare of Theo killing her. Memories of the game's bad endings flash through her mind, including him strangling her. She forces herself to breathe, telling herself she can still change her fate. Theo watches her shaking and misunderstands. He assumes she's cold from the northern climate. He drapes his fur cloak over her shoulders and tells her to wear it while he fetches clothes. When he leaves, Jaina touches the fur and realizes he gave her his own robe despite disliking exposure. She hopes it means he does not hate her and curls into its warmth. Theo returns with a yellow dress and apologizes that it is old. He tells her to change and waits outside. When Jaina steps out, she looks radiant. Theo glances at her, then stares. She thanks him for the comfort. He smiles genuinely and says it suits her. Jaina blushes. Clearing his throat, Theo says the servants will clean the room tomorrow. Jaina asks why not now. He looks away without answering. She finds the absence of servants strange compared to the game. Theo suddenly asks about the bedsheet. Jaina points to the balcony and admits she threw it out because it was filthy. Theo stiffens and admits there are no spare sheets in the castle. Jaina freezes in disbelief. An archduke with no extra sheets? Theo, blushing, says she will have to sleep in his room tonight. Jaina's eyes light up. She's thrilled, imagining this as an excellent start. They enter his room, which is dark and gloomy, barely better than hers. A game menu appears with choices. Remembering the bookshelf gives affection points, Jaina ignores it and chooses to open the curtain instead. She pulls the drapes back, saying light will keep him from getting depressed. Moonlight floods the room. Theo shields his eyes while Jaina stands bathed in silver light. Watching her, he thinks she is unlike other noble ladies and notices how her eyes shine. Flustered, he turns away and says he should leave. Jaina grabs his hand and asks him to stay. She points out there is only one bed sheet and suggests they sleep together. Theo recoils, calling it vulgar. She reminds him they are married, but he refuses, insisting noble couples sleep separately. Jaina finds his reaction cute. Her stomach growls. She realizes how late it is and asks about dinner. Theo kneels by a drawer and apologizes, then hands her a small energy bar. He tells her that is dinner. Jaina stares at it in disbelief. She laughs weakly, thinking he is joking. He is not. Her body goes rigid as she recalls the original Jaina's lavish meals. She silently questions what kind of miserable life this is. Back in her previous life, Jaina often went hungry, surviving for days on instant noodles she could barely afford. She remembers eating them in tears and vowing that if she ever got another chance, she would live on expensive, delicious food only. A vision of lobster and steak flashed through her mind. Then reality hits. She is sitting on the floor, clutching a cheap energy bar. Staring at it, she wonders why something like this even exists in a fantasy world. Forcing herself to stay calm, she asks Theo where the dining hall is. Theo looks puzzled, but agrees to lead her. Jaina grabs his hand and drags him along, determined to overcome this trial and seize the luxurious life she promised herself. As she imagines steak waiting for her, Theo follows in silence, uneasy. They reach the kitchen and Jaina searches frantically. The cupboards are empty. The table holds nothing. The storage room contains only empty boxes. Standing in the center of the room, she realizes the truth. No servants, no spare bedding, and now no food. She clutches her head, wondering what this castle actually has. A rat suddenly peeks out from the rafters. Jaina screams. Theo glares at it in disgust, muttering that he hates rats and spiders. He curses at it without thinking. Jaina drops to the floor in shock at his language, but he brushes it off. Fighting tears, she despairs over the lack of anything edible, and utterly defeated, allows the rat to help itself to her snacks. They walk back through the dark hallway in silence. Theo watches her and assumes she disliked the food. Wondering if she is truly that hungry, he offers his portion as well. Jaina refuses firmly. Back in the room, she forces herself to eat the energy bar. It tastes awful. Tears well up as she regrets not taking his share. When Theo asks if it is not to your liking, she forces a smile and lies that she loves it. Seeing through her act, Theo's expression hardens as he says he will find something more filling outside. His hand grips the hilt of his sword. Jaina realizes he intends to hunt monsters in the middle of the night and panics. She shouts for him to stop and orders him to sit down. Theo obeys, stunned. Jaina sighs and admits she hates this environment too, but she snapped because she was worried about him. Looking around the filthy castle, she realizes anyone living like this would get sick. She understands that he has been alone all this time, but now there are two of us. She takes his hands and suggests that they work together to build a better life. She asks him to take better care of himself. Theo stares at her shaken, then bows his head and apologizes, admitting he judged and treated her without consideration. Jaina admits she did the same. She remembers playing the game on her laptop, seeing him only as the cold northern duke, and never trying to understand him. Now she realizes how carefully he responds to others' feelings, and sees his quiet kindness. A memory of chasing bad endings flashed, a vision of herself trapped in a rose-filled cage, but her view has changed. Jaina smiles and tells him he is warm and gentle, pressing a finger to his lips to stop his apologies. She tells him to do better from now on. Blushing, he agrees. He asks what he can do to make her feel better. Jaina realizes he genuinely wants to cheer her up. As he calls her name softly and leans closer, she looks up, startled. Gathering her courage, she asks him to show her what lies beneath the mask. Theo's eyes widen as she confirms she wants to see his face. What does it mean to be accepted as you are? As a child in the slums, Theo was always alone. A shopkeeper shoves him out violently, calling him a monster brat and banning him from ever returning. Theo crashes onto the cobblestones as passersby stare, whispering that he must belong to a demonic bloodline. They recoil at his eyes, calling them grotesque. He hears everything and knows that simply looking at people repels them. Hungry and silent, he walks away as the crowd parts to avoid him. His stomach aches. He has not eaten in 3 days. In a dark alley, 2 men notice him. One begins to speak, then freezes when he sees Theo's face. Recognizing the monster child, the men retreat in fear, unwilling to stay near him. Rain pours down over the city. Weak and shaking, Theo collapses against a wall. He thinks bitterly that he never chose to be born this way. Curling up on the cold ground, he wonders if he will die here. As his consciousness fades, he takes hollow comfort in the thought that at least hunger will finally end. Adult Theo jolts awake in his bed, gasping, cold sweat soaking his skin. Even now, those memories refuse to leave him. His thoughts shift to the Imperial Palace. Standing before the Emperor, Theo asks why he was summoned. The Emperor refuses to even look at him, muttering about being forced to care for a monster. In the vast throne room, Theo greets his father formally, utterly alone. The Emperor sneers that Theo's eyes grow more hideous every time he sees them, and demands how he dares look at him. Theo lowers his head and apologizes. The Emperor announces that monsters are causing trouble in northern Saronia and orders Theo to go there. The meaning is clear. Sending an untested son into monster territory is a death sentence. Even his own family wants him gone. Later, even in exile, the Emperor continues to watch him, fearing the royal blood in Theo's veins, and yet that same man uses him for a political marriage. Theo remembers Jaina Blake, the illegitimate daughter of Count Blake. At first, he believed she had been sent to kill him. He imagined her hiding a blade, waiting for her chance. That was why he decided not to trust her. But reality proved different. She spoke without fear, cursed openly, cleaned the ruined castle with a bright smile, and told him not to trust rumors. She asked him to take better care of himself. Though they had known each other for barely a day, her warmth felt real. Watching her now, sitting beside him, Theo feels conflicted. For someone like her to treat him kindly makes no sense, and yet he realizes he wants to protect that smile. In the present, Jaina leans closer and asks to see what lies beneath his mask. Theo stiffens, stunned. When she asks if the request is rude, he quickly denies it. What he fears is her reaction. He remembers the villagers' terror and the Emperor's disgust. He does not know if he can endure seeing that look on her face, too. Jaina asks again. Looking into her eyes, Theo decides to trust her. Just once. He unclasps the mask. It slips from his hand and hits the floor. Theo's face is revealed. Sharp features, clear, striking eyes. Nothing monstrous at all. Jaina stares, stunned. In disbelief, she thinks he is far more handsome than the game ever portrayed. Overwhelmed, she drops to the floor, tears streaming as she thanks the heavens for bringing her to this world. Theo panics, assuming the worst. He calls her name anxiously. Jaina snaps upright and tells him to listen. Flustered, he agrees. Through tears, she beams and tells him he is truly beautiful. Theo freezes, face burning. He admits no one has ever said that to him before. Jaina realizes the awkwardness, but insists she means it. Embarrassed, she covers her mouth while Theo turns away, apologizing out of habit. She quickly tells him not to. Theo presses a hand to his chest, heart racing. As he looks at her again, his eyes shine with an emotion he has never felt before. To Jaina, his face is so striking that she feels she could stare at it forever. She blushes hard, completely absorbed. Theo panics at her silence and lightly touches her cheek, calling her name. Jaina snaps out of it and hurriedly apologizes. Flustered, he waves it off, insisting it is fine. Suddenly, Theo bends down, grabs the fallen mask, and tries to put it back on. Jaina calls out and catches his hands, demanding to know why he is hiding his face again. Looking away, Theo admits his eyes are cursed and says he must conceal them. Jaina immediately snaps back that it is nonsense and bluntly tells him his eyes are beautiful. Theo covers part of his face, clearly distressed, asking her not to lie just to comfort him. Jaina recalls the lore. Silver eyes that repel monsters made him feared and labeled a monster. Realizing this, she feels both angry and absurdly offended on his behalf, thinking everyone else must be blind. To her, black hair and silver eyes are nothing short of captivating. A system window pops up, offering shallow, flowery compliments. Jaina rejects them outright. Instead of sweet talk, she blurts out a sharp question, demanding to know whoever said something so stupid. Theo freezes, mask in hand, stunned by her sudden anger. She doubles down, making it clear she will not follow the game's script. When she starts to repeat herself, Theo panics and clamps a hand over her mouth, begging her to stop swearing. In a brief chibi-style moment, the two bicker. Theo scolding her language, Jaina snapping back that the real vulgarity is how people treat him. Back in reality, Jaina pouts and argues that people curse royalty behind their backs all the time, so it shouldn't matter. Theo stares at her, then suddenly laughs. Genuine, unrestrained laughter. Jaina is confused, but finds his smile oddly heart-fluttering. Wiping his eyes, Theo admits that being with her makes him happy. Jaina blushes, touched that someone would say that on their very first day together. Still smiling, Theo holds the mask at his side. Jaina tells him to stop calling her you and use her name, Jaina, since she's the woman he'll spend his life with. He repeats her name softly, then corrects himself when she tells him to drop the honorific. She points at the mask, tells him to say goodbye to it, and tosses it away, declaring that only she will see his face. Blushing, Theo replies that his name isn't you either, it's Theorus. With a gentle smile, he echoes her words back to her, saying she should know the name of the man she'll spend her life with. Jaina laughs and accepts it. She announces she will wash up before bed and heads for the bathroom. Once the door closes, Theo sits on the bed, uneasy by how calm her words made him feel. He hides his face, thinking about how fascinating she is, even with her crude language. When he hears the shower start, reality hits. Panic sets in. It's their first night together. He paces, telling himself it's not a real marriage and that he must act like a gentleman. His thoughts spiral anyway. Her pink, gem-like eyes, her silky hair, her small lips that say outrageous things. He shakes his head violently, scolding himself, then slams back against the wall, forcing himself to calm. Suddenly, Jaina calls his name. Theo freezes. She steps out of the bathroom, damp and holding a towel, asking if he has a smaller robe. The robe she wears is far too big, slipping off her shoulder as water drips from her hair. Theo stares, completely frozen, his face turning crimson as his mind descends into total panic. Jaina stares at Theo and drifts into a heated daydream. In her imagination, he steps closer, reminds her it is their first night together, and pushes her onto the bed. He leans over her, cheeks flushed, gently touching her face as her heart races, and he moves in to kiss her. She suddenly shouts his name and snaps back to reality. Theo looks at her in confusion and asks why she's spaced out. Jaina panics, waving it off as nothing, while Theo grows just as flustered by the awkward silence. Abruptly, he excuses himself, saying he needs to wash up, and rushes into the bathroom, slamming the door behind him. Inside, Theo splashes cold water on his face and scolds himself for losing control when they have only just met. Fully clothed, he sits in the bathtub, sweaty and shaken, gripping the edge as he swears that nothing will happen tonight and that he will not give in to temptation. Later, Theo quietly opens the bedroom door and calls Jana's name. She is already asleep, mumbling about being too full to eat anymore. He smiles softly, tucks the blanket around her, and thinks about how she has stirred more emotions in him in one day than he has felt in years. He lies down on the floor beside the bed and finally falls asleep, feeling at peace. Morning arrives with birdsong. Jana wakes up screaming that she is late for work, then freezes as she realizes where she is. Remembering she died, she bursts out laughing, celebrating her new life in the game. Her laughter dies when panic hits. She wonders how she slept last night, remembering the original game scene where Theo gently kissed the heroine in her sleep. Knowing her own habits, snoring, drooling, kicking, she frantically checks the bed. Theo is gone. Spotting him asleep on the floor, she worries she kicked him off and decides to move him back before he wakes. She grabs his shirt and struggles to lift him. Suddenly, Theo's eyes snap open. Jana panics and tries to greet him, but loses her balance and crashes down on top of him. Theo reacts on instinct, grabbing her wrists with frightening strength as a dark aura flashes in his eyes. Jana calls his name in terror. The darkness vanishes. Theo recoils in horror, staring at her reddened wrist. He apologizes repeatedly, calling himself a monster. Jana realizes his reflex comes from a lifetime of living under threat, from the slums to the palace, always expecting an attack. She assures him, deciding she needs to be more careful. Even so, a system warning flashes, declaring she is not safe with him. Theo turns away and tells her to stop. Then, he quietly suggests they get a divorce. Jana freezes. A game choice window appears, asking if she will divorce him. She stares at it in disbelief, wondering how she ended up facing divorce after just one day. Back in the bedroom, the game system presents Jana with a cruel choice: divorce. She turns away in disgust and immediately grabs Theo by the arms, telling him firmly she would never leave him. Theo looks away, weighed down by self-loathing. He pulls back and says he does not deserve to be her partner because he hurt her. Jana reassures him, explaining it was not intentional, and that she also shares the blame for startling him. She asks him not to punish himself and reminds him of his promise that it will not happen again. Taking his hand, she says she believes in him and reflects that marriage means accepting each other's flaws and growing stronger together. She leans against his shoulder, and after a quiet moment, Theo gives her a shy, sincere smile. Sensing his lingering guilt, Jana asks if there is anything she can do for him. Theo tries to refuse, but she suggests they go into town together. He blushes in surprise. While privately thinking he needs a proper haircut to show off his looks, she explains aloud that she needs new clothes and a decent meal. Theo mutters that servants will arrive tomorrow. Jana dramatically thinks she'll starve before then and pleads with exaggerated puppy eyes. Theo falters and compromises, saying he will call a knight to accompany her. Jana immediately protests, insisting she wants to go with him, not a knight. Remembering the game's affection system, she changes tactics and teases that she will ask a handsome knight to take her instead. Theo freezes and sharply refuses. Pleased, Jana presses further. A dark, possessive aura flickers as Theo pulls her close and demands why she would go on a date with another man when she is his wife. Realizing what he just said, he stiffens. Jana teasingly asks if that means they are still married. Flustered, Theo insists he will not let her go with anyone else. Jana threatens to go alone and worries aloud about being kidnapped. Theo panics and immediately agrees to come. Jana cheers while Theo raises 2 fingers to set conditions. He will keep his mask and robe on, and they must return right after. Jana barely listens and drags him out the door. In the village, Jana is awed by the medieval scenery. Smelling food, she excitedly pulls Theo toward a restaurant. Inside, she asks for a table, but the waitress sees Theo's mask, screams, and slams the door, shouting they are closed. Jana bristles, ready to argue, but Theo holds her back. Around them, villagers whisper, recognizing the Archduke and recoiling in fear. They gossip about his curse, speculating whether he will kidnap Jana or sentence them to death. Jana glares at them, furious. Theo grips her hand tightly and asks her to leave. Understanding how painful it must be to be constantly misjudged, Jana agrees. They try other places, but every door is shut in their faces. Theo apologizes quietly, saying he only holds her back and that she shouldn't have come. He turns to leave, offering to wait outside the village so she can eat alone. Jana refuses, grabbing his cloak and begging for one last try. Theo warns that if they are rejected again, they must return home. Jana agrees. Nervous, they approach a shabby establishment called Spring Harvest. Jana prays silently and opens the creaky door, asking for a table. The woman inside smiles in welcome, then notices Theo and gasps, calling for her husband. Jana's heart sinks as Theo and Jana stand there, already bracing themselves for another rejection. A A woman suddenly rushes out of a nearby building, urgently calling for her husband to come quickly. The man, holding a broom, looks confused, but she grabs his arm and pulls him along, announcing in a rush that the Archduke and his lady have arrived. The man freezes in shock at the realization the Archduke is truly here. The door opens, and the couple bows deeply, welcoming Theo and Jenya inside with bright, respectful smiles. They assure them they will serve their best meal and invite them to enjoy it without worry. Jaina, surprised by the warmth, asks if it is really all right for them to dine here. The woman immediately reassures her and personally guides them to a table. The restaurant interior is warm and cozy. Jaina sits down with relief, but she notices Theo nervously adjusting his gloves and hood. She leans closer and whispers that it's fine now since they're the only customers. Theo stiffens, clearly still tense. Before he can object, the owner returns carrying the food. Jaina briefly wonders if Theo is uncomfortable around the owner, but her attention shifts as the dishes are set down. Beef steak, chicken salad, and pizza. The owner explains that the meal is a small token of gratitude for what His Highness did last year. Jaina, confused, asks what she means. Theo lowers his gaze as the owner explains he may not remember. She recalls how Theo saved her husband from a monster while he was traveling through the forest. A vivid memory surfaces of Io standing sword in hand between the trembling man and a massive snake-like beast. The owner explains they never had the chance to properly thank him, which is why she was so eager to welcome him today. She leaves them alone, hoping the food suits his taste. Theo sits silently, his face slowly flushing red. Jaina watches him and thinks this may be the first time he has ever been welcomed with genuine gratitude. She gently tells him it's all right to relax, reminding him that these people are kind and thankful. Instead, easing, Theo's expression darkens. Anxiety closes in as he worries someone else might come in, or that villagers will avoid the restaurant because he ate there. He clenches his fist, convinced they never should have accepted him, and that he will only bring them trouble and shame. Jaina finally understands how deep his fear runs. She worries the business might suffer simply because of him. Under his hood, Theo's eyes gleam as he says, he truly should not have come. Jaina calls his name sharply to break through his spiral. Then her voice softens. She admits she can't fully understand his pain or undo the years of rejection he endured, but she reaches across the table and places her hand over his gloved one. She promises she will stay by his side. She acknowledges that people will still judge them and that ignorance is not easily erased, but says they will face it together. She tells him that whenever he feels overwhelmed, he should just look at her. Theo looks up, stunned. His heart races as he blushes, then he smiles, small, genuine, and thanks her. With the tension lifted, Jaina cheerfully declares it is time to eat. The owners watch quietly from the counter, moved by the scene. After the meal, Jaina thanks them enthusiastically, and they invite the couple to return anytime. Outside, Theo suggests they head home. Jaina is disappointed and remembers shopping for dresses, but remembering Theo's earlier anxiety, she decides not to push him and agrees to go another day. Just then, the owner calls out to them and mentions that her daughter owns a boutique nearby. She offers to take them there herself. Jaina gasps in excitement and immediately agrees, while Theo looks surprised but follows along. At the boutique, Jaina is overwhelmed with delight. She tries on dress after dress, smiling and posing, while Theo sits on a sofa, blushing and giving a thumbs up to every outfit. Time passes quickly. Leaving the shop with bags in hand, Jaina laughs happily, thrilled that she could shop without worrying about the cost. She suddenly realizes she let something slip, since Count Blake was supposed to be wealthy, and quickly covers it by claiming her father simply disliked spending money on clothes. Theo accepts the explanation, while Jaina silently scolds herself. She praises the boutique and jokes that it would look wonderful inside the castle. Walking ahead with arms full of boxes, Theo pauses and quietly responds, thoughtful. Later that night, back in their room, Jaina flops on the bed and declares they're finally home! Theo, exhausted, gives a shaky thumbs up and excuses himself to wash up. Jaina rolls around happily, thinking this feels like heaven, good food, beautiful dresses, and the life she always wanted. Then there is a knock at the door. Jaina sits up, confused. Theo is still in the bathroom, and he clearly said the servants would not arrive until tomorrow. The knocking comes again, louder this time. Realizing they should be alone in the castle, Jaina freezes. She dives under the covers as the knocking turns heavy and violent, echoing through the dark bedroom. Someone or something is trying to get in. Her throat tightens as she asks who is there, but the silence that follows only deepens her fear. When the sound suddenly stops, she hesitantly calls out again. The response is immediate. The knocking returns, louder and more violent than before. Her heart pounds as she convinces herself the castle is haunted. She tries to reason that this is not a horror game, but the timing and atmosphere feel far too perfect. Hands trembling, she inches toward the door, telling herself the servants may have arrived earlier than planned. She cracks it open just enough to peer outside. A shadowed face fills the gap, calm and looming, greeting her with a polite, "Good evening." Jaina screams. She slams the door shut and bolts back to the bed, diving under the covers and crying out for Theo. The bathroom door bursts open. Theo rushes out wearing a loose robe, hair wet and disheveled, panic clear on his face as he demands to know what happened. Jaina throws herself at him, burying her face against his chest and sobbing that there is a ghost outside. In her panic, her hands clutch at him instinctively. She freezes when she realizes what she is touching. Solid muscle beneath thin fabric, his heartbeat racing just as wildly as her own. Theo stammers, confused, when a voice from the door chuckles and casually remarks that married life seems lively. Jaina shrieks again, pointing frantically at the door and begging Theo to get rid of it. He exhales in resignation and explains that it is not a ghost at all, but Hummel, his butler. The figure steps into the light, revealing a refined, elderly man with glasses who bows politely and introduces himself. Hummel makes a mild comment about the scene he interrupted. Theo's face burns red as he orders Hummel to leave and wait until summoned. The butler bows again and withdraws. Theo shuts and locks the door. Only then does Jaina realize what she has done. She completely forgot about the servants. Mortified, she hides her face in her hands, horrified that she screamed at an elderly man. Theo softens and gently pats her head, telling her it is fine. The simple gesture makes her blush, until she notices his robe hanging loosely. Her eyes widen. A sudden nosebleed erupts as heat floods her face. She stares at his exposed chest and abs, overwhelmed, and collapses backward onto the bed. Theo leans over her, expression serious, telling her to stay still. Her heart races as memories of the game surface, those tempting, sexy options, and the brutal bad ending that always follows them. The image of her own death flashes in her mind, and she immediately apologizes, forcing herself to retreat. Theo is baffled. He hesitates, then admits he touched her earlier without asking and apologizes, clearly feeling guilty. Jaina stares at him, stunned by his sincerity. She wipes the blood from her nose, smiles awkwardly, and tells him it is fine. Since they are married, she explains, touching is normal. His eyes widen, shimmering with emotion. He admits he thought she was quiet because she hated being touched by him. Jaina frantically denies it, insisting she could never hate him and wouldn't mind at all. She places her hand over her chest and tells him plainly that he is her husband. Relief washes over Theo's face. He asks softly if he may hug her. Jaina opens her arms without hesitation. He leans into the embrace, blushing, holding her carefully. She feels his warmth and strength and wonders how safe it feels like this. Theo pulls back slightly, his face close to hers. His gaze flickers to her lips. After a brief hesitation, he whispers a question that makes her breath catch, asking if he may touch her more. Jaina gazes up at Theo, her heart racing as they lean closer, the space between them charged with tension. Just as their lips are about to meet, a sudden knock crashes through the moment. Both of them jolt in shock. Theo tumbles off the bed with a heavy thud, while Jaina reflexively shoves him away. He coughs, flustered, hurriedly pulling his robe together. From the hallway, Hummel apologizes and announces there is an urgent matter that requires the Archduke immediately. Theo straightens, face burning, and asks for a moment. Jaina sits on the bed, visibly disappointed. They were only inches away. She knows the game probably doesn't allow a kiss yet, but as a married couple, she feels it should not have mattered. Frustrated, she buries herself under the covers. Theo promises to return quickly and opens the door to Hummel. Inside, he pulls on a shirt, briefly revealing his toned abs. He apologizes again, explaining he must deal with something right away and asks her to sleep without him. Jaina agrees, but tells him not to overwork himself. Theo leaves, then suddenly comes back. Without a word, he walks to the bedside, leans down, and gently kisses her forehead. Jaina freezes, her face flushing hot. Theo stammers a goodbye and retreats, shutting the door behind him. Jaina touches her forehead, stunned. Realizing he actually kissed her, she hides under the covers, smiling to herself, convinced she will sleep well tonight. Elsewhere in the castle, Theo works late into the night. As he pauses, a small smile crosses his face at the thought of Jaina. Hummel hands him a report confirming that Jaina has no ties to the imperial family and is unlikely to be a spy, advising him to trust her. Theo studies the papers in silence. He wonders if he can truly trust her, and whether he could endure it if she betrayed him like the others. Morning arrives with birdsong. Jaina sleeps soundly, mumbling about food. The door suddenly bangs open as a maid enters brightly, announcing it is time to wake up. Startled, Jaina asks who she is. The maid introduces herself as Ellie McGraish, her new personal maid, and cheerfully adds that it is 6 a.m. Jaina's horrified. 6 a.m. is for students and office workers, not her. Ignoring Jaina's despair, Ellie rattles off a strict morning schedule. Overwhelmed, Jaina rolls over and declares she is going back to sleep. Panicked, Ellie asks if she is unwell. Jaina lies and tells her to return later. Ellie agrees and leaves. Jaina locks the door, relieved, and collapses back onto the bed, enjoying how comfortable it is. She quickly falls asleep again. She dreams of a wedding. Bells ring as she holds Theo's hand, promising to stay together forever. The crowd cheers and she smiles. A deafening crash shatters the dream. Jaina jolts awake to find the bedroom door smashed flat on the floor. Theo stands in the doorway, breathless and frantic, shouting her name. He rushes to her, gripping her shoulders, asking if she's hurt, his eyes frantic with fear. Jaina stares past him at the ruined door, then back at Theo. Realization dawns. He just kicked his own bedroom door. She sits there in stunned silence, wondering what on earth just happened.